Hello there, Abigail.
Hi, Arden.
Welcome to We Are a Crotchety Old Man,
And a woman.
the podcast for you, with you, and sometimes even about you. We had a little aha in that, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Nice. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But it's I like to. Who told you the idea about using the date? I thought that was brilliant because it's Saturday, October the 19th.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that was smart. And do you know it's National Seafood Bisque Day?
I did not, but I do love a good bisque. Usually it is lobster bisque.
Okay, what's in a bisque? I don't know.
It's usually like a tomato sauce.
Oh, really?
I mean, not tomatoes, tomato and cream based.
Is it hot, cold?
It's hot and it's usually orange.
Oh, okay.
And with the lobster, they just put a big blob of lobster in the middle of it.
Nice. Okay. Well, this was seafood, so I guess they throw other things in there. I've never had it. I'm not a big seafood guy.
Right, but lobster is the most common.
Okay. Awesome. Things I'm learning. How about you, people? Learning anything? So we don't have that much in. I'm kind of pulling out some old guns here for this day in history. So bear with me. What do we got here? What dates do you have?
1781, because Arden likes to go way back in history, and sometimes it's not that interesting, but let's see what he's got.
I was actually going to go. Sometimes I can go back to like the beginning of time if I can, but it only goes back to the Roman calendar because I can't talk about stuff in BC because that may or may not. But I do sometimes. But anyway, 1781, the Americans finally beat the British at the Siege of Yorktown. I know we talked about this last week. Last week is when it began, and this week it actually ended. Now, the fascinating part about this is General Cornwallis was so taken back that he actually lost, that he refused to surrender himself and sent somebody else, his number two, out to surrender his sword. It's kind of how they used to do things back in the day. But so George Washington sent his second. He refused to accept the surrender as well. But one of the most famous parts is that when they signaled their surrender and pulled down their colors, a little drummer boy who was 12 years old was playing the drums, avoiding bullets and everything else. And he played, and everyone just finally just stopped shooting when they saw this little kid actually play. How amazing is that?
That actually is pretty cool, Arden.
Yeah, and stuff won't happen like that anymore. Anyway, 1789. For those who are big fans of the Founding Fathers, John Jay was sworn in as the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Question, Arden.
Yes.
In the beginning, how many justices were there on the Supreme Court?
I believe it was 3 originally. I'm not 100%, but I think it was 3, and then it went to 6 and then 9. And hey, if the Democrats can control, it'll probably be like 19 or something. Anyway, I'm getting political already. It's been a rough day.
All right, next up is 1812.
1812, and we're not going to be talking about the War of 1812 with the British and the Americans. We're talking about Napoleon exiting out of Moscow, retreating. He actually invaded Russia on June 24th with 500,000 men. How massive is that army? 500,000 men got to Moscow, but the Russian general destroyed everything, and there was no food to feed the troops, where we finally get the expression, an army moves on its stomach. It actually came from that, because they ran out of food and they had to retreat. Fascinating fact. And now Britain was fighting with us in the War of 1812, but they couldn't put enough troops in to fight us and to help fight the French. So that's why we did so well in 1812.
Okay, now we're back into modern time, which is what I prefer. And this is what happened in 1982.
1982. Like I said, I'm pulling whatever I can here. John DeLorean was arrested. over a $24 million cocaine bust.
I would have to imagine that got him several years in federal prison.
Now, I want to know, how much did he lose on the DeLorean car? Only made famous by Back to the Future. Other than that, it's a DeLorean. And if you see one, you know it's from Back to the Future. Then we got 1985. Oh, yeah. Put it back on again. Crank that bad boy up. Oh, my God. Okay. So, aha. I was going to sing. Take on me. I so can't sing. Anyway, aha. Pops up as #1 song. And people loved it so much because of the video. Not really the music. It was the video that changed everything. People said that was the first actual #1 recording that was promoted by MTV that pushed the music, not the radio play. So it was the first #1 video that turned into a #1 on the Billboard charts.
Well,
a little confusing.
The cool thing about the video is it includes
it's like stenciled.
It's stenciled, pen and stuff,
black and white,
and it goes to a beat, and then there's a young girl that's live and
falls in love with a piece of paper.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I personally thought it was a great song, but Arden does not.
I did not, because you know what I was more fascinated about in 1985?
What?
The first Blockbuster store opened in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
Over 8,000 titles. Very important. Now, Daniel worked at a Blockbuster, I think. Oh, he worked at a Subway. Did he work at a Blockbuster too? Who knows? All I know is back then it was great. Then I think we got our final one on 1987. And Abigail is a huge finance person. She loves every day. And Black Monday, 1987, was the largest one-day crash of the stock market.
Yep.
So if that happened today, Abigail probably would punch me in the face.
I probably would.
And now I'm excited by this. Abigail has been talking about a new segment. I know absolutely nothing about it. I'm going to sit and drink some of my basement coffee. Abigail is having basement French vanilla caramel cappuccino, the best cappuccino you can have in a basement.
It is. Okay, so my proposal for a new potential ongoing segment.
Oh, ongoing. So if you like it, let us know. We'll get to that later. But thank you.
Is stupid true crime.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm sure you're going to have a couple that just pops up into your head, but I wrote down a few
that I committed.
Pretty funny. So a bank thief essentially takes an Uber to the bank and tells the Uber driver what he's going to do.
Nice.
And essentially, as soon as the guy got out of the car, the Uber driver called the police. So,
do we know when that was? I mean, it's Uber, so it couldn't have been that long ago.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not
right.
like you with the dates and history and all that.
Okay.
So then there was an idiot driver that got pulled over, and he essentially ran from the police. But guess what his license plate said?
I sue.
Will run.
No, will run.
All right. And then there was a dude that stole some beer from like a 7-Eleven.
Okay.
And he goes outside and decides he's going to just crack a beer and talk to everybody outside and drink with them. And then the police show up because, hey, they called the police.
Right. Did they get him for trespass? I can't even say trespass. Let's see.
He was a thief and he was drinking in public.
Nice.
All right. And then this one's kind of maybe for your friend Daniel.
Uh-oh. Daniel again, twice in less than 2 minutes.
The police pulled up. They investigated a rocking car, and they found a man getting intimate with a stuffed animal.
Wow. You just said Daniel has had intercourse with stuffed animals.
I didn't say
Wow.
I didn't say that.
Well, I'm actually going to call him in a few minutes and literally just throw that out there. Hey, you know what? What you do in the privacy of your own home or car, was it in public? Like, was it a public parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of doll was it? Was it
They didn't say.
Oh, okay. Man,
Anyway,
that's nasty.
so recently in Florida, this isn't necessarily a stupid crime, but I guess it is. A woman is facing felony charges after she decided to shove dog poop in a senior citizen's face because they got in an argument.
Ew. First of all, she literally would probably like, unless she was just walking her dog, but if she picked it up and did that, that's a double ew. One for picking it up with her bare hand, I'm assuming. And
No,
then
she had it in her bag, but she opened the bag up and then shoved it in the guy's face.
okay,
But it's a felony charge.
really that's a felony. That's
I
a poop
think
assault.
so.
Well, was it human fecal matter or dog
No,
poop?
it's a dog poop.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm worried about diseases. I don't know.
Then there was the case where a drunk driver crashed into a liquor store and was so drunk he got out, went to the shelf, got what he wanted, and went up to pay for it, even though he crashed into the liquor store.
That would not actually. That would not be Daniel because he does not know how to drive. So, and he doesn't drink except he drinks like. Remember those little wine cooler things? Wow, I'll be mad to him.
All right, this one's kind of goofy.
Okay.
A man was arrested for drunk driving
Another one.
while he was riding a Power Wheel.
What's a power?
Now, he was riding it down the street. And when I say Power Wheel, yes, I'm talking
Oh,
about
is
the
that that
one
little-
you may have had when you were 5
I was about
years
to say
old.
the little car.
I call them wheelbarrows.
Ah,
You know, with the 2 wheels in the back and the front wheel?
that's a big wheel.
Okay, big wheel.
I think the power wheels are like just the battery controlled like cars for little kids.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to look that up.
Anyway,
power
but he was
wheels.
so drunk driving it, he decided to drive it down a road, and so he got a DUI.
That's like the guy who was driving a Zamboni down the road because he was so drunk.
Okay, and then there were some young plumbers installing a gold-plated toilet in a very wealthy man's house.
Donald?
Yes, so no, it wasn't Don.
It wasn't Donald Trump.
No,
He had a
but
gold-plated
they
toilet.
decided to steal it.
Oh,
but-
instead.
After a while, they figured out how they were going to try to sell it and not raise suspicion.
Right.
So they ended up getting arrested, but to this day, no one knows where the toilet is at.
Oh.
But yeah, stealing something like that, I mean, how do you
First-
pawn that off?
First of all, it's heavy.
It's very heavy.
Well, it was gold-plated, so I guess
Well,
if it was solid gold, it would be even worse.
yeah,
But gold-plated,
but we're,
you smash it up. A couple sledgehammers.
To this day, they don't know where they
No.
put it. And I got one more.
One more.
A dumb shit teenager decided to go do donuts in his car. You
Okay,
know,
I've done that.
really?
Oh,
Would
yeah.
you do it in front of a police station?
No, that would almost be as bad as bringing donuts to a police station. Wasn't there a guy like just last week, like 2 people, they did one of those dine and ditch moves where they ran out of the restaurant and didn't pay, but they left their cell phone on the table, so they had to come back.
Well, there was one guy that robbed a gas station, but he left his debit card behind.
Nice.
And then there was another idiot kid who decided to rob a bank, and he wrote his note on the back of his birth certificate.
AKA dumb ass. He's dumb and an ass. He's a dumb ass.
All right, one more. I know this isn't as exciting as I had hoped, but
It's interesting.
next week I'll have better ones.
Okay, well, we'll
But
hold you
there
to
was a
it.
guy who contacted the police to threaten to blow up the Hollywood sign out
Yeah,
in California.
I remember that.
But instead, he accidentally called the cops in Hollywood, Florida.
Duh, duh. I actually did not know the Hollywood sign actually. What was it before that? It was bigger.
Hollywoodland.
Hollywoodland. Yeah, isn't that amazing? Like, they don't really have that many pictures of that,
Mhm.
but that's pretty amazing. So, okay, we're gonna jump now to what are we doing? Sports?
Yep.
Okay, so
Yankees.
Yankees come out tonight. They win it, bring it back home, get some rest. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, they're coming back tonight.
Tonight, if they win tonight,
It's over.
it's over. But if they
Right.
lose, they get to come
I
back
know,
and win it on home.
but 2 games ago, our hearts were crushed.
After Judge homered,
I
Stanton,
mean, and we thought that was definitely going to be a win, but they got it done last night, and yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight's game.
I'm blaming it on my mom for being bad luck. I'm very superstitious, people, and Grandma called, and it was all over. The Yankees they choked. They choked. They ruined it. It was all over. It's Grandma's fault.
Arden's odd. I mean, he claims to be this big fan, but he'll turn the damn thing off.
And what happened when I turned it off? Okay, I want to point this out. I turned it off, and the Yankees came storming back, took the lead. The guy somehow ends up on second base. I turned it back on as soon as I clicked it. Gone, home run. The Yankees literally just lost the game. I was so.
All I know is I just think that's bizarre.
It was. I'm bad luck sometimes. I'm very. Here's a quick superstitious call. Way back 1988, Jose Cruz. It was a Yankee, and the Yankees got bases loaded while this phone call. Somebody was calling my house, my mom's house, and the phone kept ringing and ringing and ringing. And as long as the phone was ringing, the Yankees kept getting guys on. Jose Cruz hits a home run, and the Yankees win, and then the phone stopped ringing. I don't know. I believe this stuff. I'm weird. So we got that. We got hockey's going well. The New York Rangers are doing good. Abigail Reese is being a psychopath in the WNBA, saying she doesn't make enough money, that it doesn't pay her bills. Didn't she get a shoe endorsement too?
She got a contract.
Yeah. So
it's just attention. She's just attention grabbing.
Yeah.
So Abigail actually watched a Commanders game.
Nice.
And they lost against. I hate the Baltimore Ravens.
Who do you hate more, the Ravens or the Dallas Cowboys?
Ooh, that's a little tough one.
I know it's tough. That's why I had to ask.
Okay. I just think Baltimore is overall a bunch of thugs. I can't let go of Ray Lewis and his episode that he got away with something.
He got away with, he didn't even get manslaughter. He got charged with murder, I think.
I think so.
I know he did kill someone.
With a lot of blood on it.
Yes.
But he got and then, but I watched the almost the whole. They got a decent team. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so their quarterback is doing amazingly. He looks good, but it's football. You get hit once, your career's over, and you're never the same again. Look at Robert Griffin III. He was great up until he
turned into a total whack job.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we got. So do you want to do the Ask Abigail segment, or do you want to do the In the News segment? What would you like to do?
You wanted to mention the wrestlers for Trump.
Oh yeah, so. I was a huge wrestling nerd for the longest time, and now that all the wrestlers I liked are like in retirement, it's kind of fun. And the Undertaker has a podcast, and he actually had Donald Trump on the podcast. And Glenn Jacobs, who is Kane in wrestling, he's actually the not the governor, excuse me. He's actually the in Knox County, Tennessee, he's the mayor. And they believe he might actually be able to run for governor of Tennessee and win because he's very articulate and he's very smart. So they got together, and now all of these professional wrestlers are coming out to actually side with Donald Trump. Now, wrestling leans more towards the liberal listening audience, which is kind of funny, as the wrestlers themselves are actually conservative. There's been wrestlers for George Bush. They actually did this. The Rock used to be. But yeah, it's pretty funny. So they have all of these wrestlers that are coming out and endorsing them, which could kill their careers.
You saw what Trump did yesterday, right?
Which one? He did a lot of things.
Oh, I know. He went into the Bronx, New York, and went to a barbershop.
He did. And he's going to work at a McDonald's. He said he wants to work the fryer. I mean, like, he goes, because Kamala Harris lied and said she worked at a McDonald's. So he's going to actually say, yeah, I did work at a McDonald's. How awesome is that? He's the best. He is the best.
All right, next segment is In the News.
In the News. We need something like that. Something. I just did.
All right. Okay, so the big news of the week for me was that the Israelis executed mastermind behind the October 7th mess. A lot of
Yeah.
Jewish people that includes hostages as well as some Americans as hostages. They did very brutal stuff, and this guy was a slime bag. And I saw the footage on TV
That was kind of
of
gross.
the drone hovering over him and zooming in on him, all cradled like a little baby in a chair, and he threw a stick at the drone. That
In
was right
defiance.
that's right before they obliterated him. But that was in Rafa.
And what's his name again?
Yaha Sinwar.
So he's Yaha, and we played Aha.
Ha.
Ha! No more.
But the ironic
Got blown up
point
by
of this story is that
Sorry.
the Harris-Biden, wait a minute, it's the Biden-Harris administration.
That's right.
Not even in just a few months ago, said if they should not enter Rafah, and if they did, it would be a terrible mistake, meaning the Israelis. So, again, Biden and Harris telling Israel not to invade or touch Rafah.
I mean,
And Benjamin Netanyahu gave them the big middle finger.
he did.
But now Harris is trying to take credit and praise them for it. It's just disgusting, folks.
What I didn't understand, and this I don't know, I got it and I have not. Why was it that Kamala Harris came out to announce it, that he was killed? Why her, not Joe Biden? Was it because Joe Biden was in the air flying to Berlin?
Probably, because I'm sure Joe would have wanted to do it.
Right, she might, because those two are kind of...
they're in a little bit of a battle.
Yeah, so she's the vice president. She has nothing to do with this. Why is she out there?
Well, she did have something to do with it. A few months ago, she came out and said that the Israelis should not enter Rafah.
Right, all because they want to win Michigan and Wisconsin, and they want to win that Arab vote.
And again, if Joe did say something, most likely a few months ago, he probably said, don't.
Don't.
So let's count up. I mean,
what was it like? He said it at least 3 times.
We're going to make it just stick to 4, but
okay.
One includes what? The Taliban?
Yeah, he told them, don't.
Putin?
Don't. It's like he's constipated.
And he did. Putin did what he wanted to.
Actually, it's like he's like holding a poop in. Don't poop my pants.
He told the Iranians don't.
Don't.
And Hezbollah don't. And how's that working out for you, Joe?
I mean, that's like, don't vote for Donald Trump. Because it'll backfire.
Here's another crazy thing that's going on in this country. Is California now says it's illegal ID to vote, so it's against the law.
So following up real fast, you can request ID for someone to buy alcohol, but to vote, you're not allowed to ask.
Exactly.
That is the most retarded thing, and I like to use the word retarded because that is.
It's not appropriate.
I know it's not appropriate, but I'm using it.
But on the other side, Virginia is being sued by purging the rolls, meaning getting rid of anyone that is illegal off the voter roll.
Right. People who are and can I share a story with us of myself?
Okay.
So I actually moved in May, as we all know, and I stayed in Fairfax County. So what did I do? I drove to Fairfax County to vote because that's where I'm registered. I am not voting where I live now. I was notified by mail that I have to change my voting statute. Now, if I voted in Loudoun County, that would be illegal. But here, they're actually following up. The DOJ is saying, no, Virginia, you can't. You got to leave those people on.
Even though it's a federal law that the governor of Virginia is executing.
Yep.
That is the ridiculousness of the situation, folks. All right, on a lighter note, I don't know about you, Arden, but when I was a kid, my dad would send me to this one store and say, you get to pick out one outfit. And what was that store? Kmart.
Oh, I like the good Kmart.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it has finally reached its last days. The final Kmart closed in Bridgehampton, New York. So the big K is dead.
Wow. When I first moved down here in 2005, there was a Kmart on Route 50, and sounds bizarre. There were like I was amazed that there were white people working there because where I lived, the only Kmart where I lived up in New Jersey, there was all Hispanics or black people worked at Kmart. And so when I came down here, I was like, wow, I like living down here. Multicultural, everyone works together. It was amazing. Like it was so different because where I lived, it was so bad. I was like the only white person in the entire town, right where I was. It was scary as hell.
Did you just listen to yourself?
Yeah, and I'm trying to make it like I lived in a really scary neighborhood.
Okay. We're gonna keep moving.
I lived right outside of Patterson, New Jersey. It's scary.
All right. Back to the politics of everything in this godforsaken country. FBI had stated in the past few months that crime had gone down by 2.1%. And then during the the only Harris-Trump debate, when Trump made that claim that by who? What's that guy's name?
What was it, Muir?
Yeah, Muir. Actually, crime has gone down, and Trump counterpunched, and
David Muir.
The media just pounced on it. Well, guess what, Arden?
What?
Revised their statistics. They went from 2.1% drop to a 4.5% increase in crime.
Wow.
Isn't that just total bullshit?
Well,
Here's my cuss word for the podcast.
So that was like the second, not the second time, because Trump actually said they weren't including big cities.
That's right, and it could be even higher.
Right.
But he gets fact checked during the debate, which should have happened, and in the end, he was right.
Yep, seen that before.
Okay, and I think we'll end the week in news with the Al Smith dinner. Arden, what did you think of that?
Okay, first of all, the audio was a little bad, I guess maybe for the feed I had, but I actually laughed out loud. I usually will snicker at Trump jokes, but I laughed out loud when he literally put it it was complaining if you didn't see it, you got to watch the video. Because the people in front of him, he had he had Chuck Schumer to his bottom left, and Chuck Schumer, he kind of looks like a little troll just because they don't really do him any favors because Trump is big, so the podium is right behind him. But he goes, "It's okay, Chuck. If Harris doesn't win, you could still be the first woman president because your party's so woke." Then another one. I'm sorry. He said, because your party's so woke, you could be the first woman president. Then one of my other ones is what you hear this white dudes for Harris? He goes, and they're one person in the audience cheers. He goes, yeah, there's probably not that many of you. Well, I'm not really worried because all of those white dudes, their wives and their wives' lovers are voting for me. There was meanwhile, Cardinal Dolan is right there, and he is laughing out loud. It was bad, but some of his jokes were funny. He roasts everyone, including himself. Then he talks about the mayor. He goes, yeah, and the mayor we had, God, he was awful. And directly in front of the podium was Bloomberg. Bloomberg, his eyes grow wide and he's turning bright white. He thinks Trump is talking about him. And then he was talking about the last mayor. What's his name? The last mayor in New York.
Adams.
No, before him. He talks to Adams and he's really friendly with him. The big tall guy, who was horrible.
Yeah, he was horrible.
I was not Alphonse Tomato. Wow, I'm really getting old. Damn. Well, the previous governor before Adams, and that guy is also in the audience, and he's yeah, he was the worst. He is terrible. And that guy's just standing there oh my God. He was even nice to Kathy Hochul. He was nice to her. He was nice to Adams.
Did I hear right that Kamala snubbed the event, which is just
she sent some weird video.
So petty. But yeah, she sent a video. Whatever. Either show up or you don't.
Well, and then Trump made fun of her. He said she was too busy in Detroit, in Michigan, getting the Eucharist from Kathy Whitmer. Is that her name?
Whitmore.
Whitmore. Yes,
Yes, so that was funny.
that was funny. So good. I mean, it was worth laughing out loud for.
Yeah,
That
but
was funny.
again,
Gretchen Whitmore. Sorry.
she just, even though she could have read her jokes off the notes, she just couldn't handle the pressure.
No, and do you know the last person who was running for president and didn't go?
No.
Well, he was what geez, thanks. The dog's barking. It was the guy who ran with Carter, Mondale.
Oh,
He didn't go. Look what happened to him.
yeah.
Sorry, we got dogs barking in case you hear it, anyone. So we're got to move around pretty fast, I guess. So we might not have time for our final segment as we're, I think, running kind of out of time. But I'm going to try to do. Want to ask Abigail, or do we want to go into the true false?
Your call.
All right, let's do true false because and then we can go ask Abigail to end the show.
All right.
So because we did dogs last week, and they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats, we got to do some true false about cats. Now Abigail doesn't like cats, so let's. I can do these kind of. Here we go. Cats were first domesticated as early as 3,600 BC.
False.
That is true. They've been around domesticated for a long time. Not as long as dogs. Dogs forever. There are over 800. I'm sorry. There's over 88 million cats in the United States that are pets.
True.
That is true, which is more than dogs. Dogs were 70
That's
million.
because cats are easier to maintain.
That's because cats roll and dogs drool. Okay, there's over 200 feral cats are in Disneyland, roaming the parks at all times.
Well, I know there are a lot, but 200 sounds a little small. I'm going to say false. There's more.
Wow, I actually thought you would have said false because you thought it was too high, but it's actually true.
Yeah.
And they rolled around. They're great for taking care of mice.
Yeah, and who counted them?
I did.
200 exactly.
I did. Well, they probably caught them all. Cats can jump 10 times their length.
I'm going to go true, but I bet it's higher.
It's actually false. It's
Jeez.
actually 6 times. It's actually shorter.
Obviously, I'm not a cat person.
I know.
Go
on. Cats have an extra organ that lets them taste scents in the air. And
I have no idea. False.
It is true. So if you see a cat looking at you with its mouth open, it is scenting the air.
Wow, 50-50, and I missed all of them.
Here we go. Cats point if a cat has their tail pointing straight up means they want to play.
False.
That is correct. Yeah, there you go. If it looks like a question mark, they want to play. If a cat is hissing at you, it's a sign of aggression.
Yes.
That is false. That means the cat is in distress. 3 more. If a cat is wagging its tail, like a dog, it's showing happiness.
False.
Correct. Very good. Yeah, if they're doing that, they're very angry and want to fight.
Arden, just remember, at this point, it's just 50-50. So.
Okay. Number 9. In a 200-yard dash, the average house cat could beat the fastest human.
True.
That is true. And the final one, cats were held in such great esteem by the Egyptian pharaohs, they were mummified to be with the pharaoh in the next life.
True.
That is true. And that's actually because there really weren't that many dogs yet in Egypt. There were jackals, but there really weren't many dog breeds yet. So that was fascinating. So now for the rest of the show, it's all about asking Abigail. Abigail, what were your thoughts of Kamala Harris during the Fox News debate?
Well, the going theme for every question was reverting back to Donald Trump. Without answering the question, she would say, well, let's talk about this. And it was always bashing Trump. And she got combative, she got loud, and she got angry. All the traits that they say about Trump, she exhibited in that interview. She could not answer one.
I was amazed. like how she like I thought she would like come off maybe a little word salady, but more like happy. But everything was blame Trump, blame Trump, blame Trump, and she would not let Brett Baer ask a follow up question. Like she was not ready for that.
He challenged her. I'll give him that. But again, when she brought up, oh, his Joint Chiefs of Staff, say not to vote for him and da da da. I wish Brett Baer could have said, well, your entire staff quit on you.
Right.
But he didn't, but I would have done that.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
But she was angry, and she just did not come off well. And she's on a network that's more Republican, leans more Republican.
Right.
So she didn't exactly attract new people.
Right. In fact, it's more the moderate Republicans, which is pretty fascinating. But I was amazed more on how the left wing media actually was like, she is so strong. She went into the lion's den. Seriously, Trump does that every freaking time, and then they say Donald Trump would never do that. Really? Really? He's on every show because he didn't go on CBS after that debacle. And people want CBS to have the FCC pull their license over that. I mean, that's a little strong, but there's I don't know what they do in that kind of situation. Like they totally effed with a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable. So I'm glad Trump didn't go on it because they could have easily said, they could have asked Mr. President, what color is the sky? And he could have said blue. And then they could have asked him later on, what's your favorite color? And he could say red. And they could have edited it so they'd be like, what's your favorite color? Red. I mean, they would have said, what's the sky? And he would have been like, red. They could do that now.
Of course they can. They can do anything they want.
There's a problem in what's going on. We have moderators with.
All I know is my dog Toto couldn't take it anymore, and Arden got a great picture of him, and he posted it on his X account
at Crotchety Old Man. At Crotchety Old Man.
It's the most adorable picture you'll ever see.
Yeah, Toto. By the way, Benji was a Kamala Harris supporter, and now completely hates her. Toto, 100% all about Trump. And if you follow us on Twitter, you will see nothing but Toto and Benji doing whatever they can for Trump. They will poop on her lawn if they have to. They're willing to.
But they're not allowed to put the poop in her face.
Right. Ew, that's still disgusting. That's nasty. Anyway, let's go back to some. Yep. So you can find us at wearecrotchetyoldmen@gmail.com. We want to listen to you. We want your comments. So reach out. And oh my God, I can't even. Someone's squeezing his nuts or something right there. Anyway,
Good night.
Good night, everyone.